certainly one to watch. He sounded very confident there, didn't he? Going from fourth place on the grid. Hakim Danish, only the third Malaysian rider ever in Moto3, hit to start in the front row. Fami Karadine and Kaladan Powie. He looks good as well all weekend, Lewis, on that all KTM front row.
Yeah, two Asia Talent Cup champions in the front four places on the grid. They start fourth and third. One ahead of them in second is Valentin Peroni. Real opportunity to lead here as the World Championship lead days with Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. On the podium last time out to the opening round in Thailand. Valentin, this, I guess, home Grand Prix for you. Coming from Argentina, I'm sure you've got a lot of support here. How excited are you for this?
Yeah, I'm super excited to be close to my home with Argentina fans also here with Brazil. Well, I enjoyed it a lot this weekend, so now it's time to finish in a good position to go to USA happy. Well, I feel strong. I think I can do a great race.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Thanks to 3 KTM rider Valentin Peroni. Third place he was at the checkered flag in Buram. Need that one. His first podium in a Grand Prix since the Balaton Park circuit in Hungary. 5 top 6 finishes last year. Certainly one to keep a close eye on in this upcoming 24-lap battle. Ryusei Yamanaka, he goes to the middle of the third row of the grid. 8th place for the Japanese rider, sandwiched in between Joel Kelso and Rico Salmela. 24th place he was at the checkered flag in Forum. After the crash early on, his worst Grand Prix finish in nigh on 3 years, which in Jerez back in 2023, the 25th place there, the only time Yamanaka has finished lower in his Grand Prix career. He starts though from the third row.
3 of the riders in the front 3 rows on the top 10 on the grid came via qualifying. It's a bit of an advantage when you've got that extra track time. Here is Rico Salmela, the young Finn teammate to Peroni at Tech 3. Caught the eye at times, even if he was off the road a little too often. Back in Buram was the young Finn, ended up finishing in 19th place. Some early mistakes in the Grand Prix really did cost him, but we've already seen plenty of signs of the obvious potential that young Rico has.
Getting a real serious pre-race pep talk here from the boss. Nicky Ayo is Alvaro Carpe, who just joined us on the grid with Jack. As you can see there on these live pictures, we're 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes away from our first Grand Prix action in Brazil since 2004. Max Quiles then, well this is a bit of a novelty, a rare one for Quiles. First time he's having to start this low on a Grand Prix grid. 11th place, his hopes of a better qualifying position, not helped by a crash in Q2 yesterday at turn 6.
It's interesting, Cross-Motor 3 and Moto 2 with the Aspar riders, they've been doing a lot of their work alone this weekend, so learning a new track is not necessarily as easy to learn a new track when you don't have other riders around you to give you some references on where to brake, the particular ways to tackle these corners, and it has taken Quiles a little longer than we expected to get up to speed, but when the red lights go out, World Championship points are up for grabs, you just know Quiles is going to be motoring forwards.
Looking at Adrian Fernandez there on that 4th row with Carpe and Quiles. There's some real Moto3 heavyweights down the grid, isn't there? This should be adding to the spectacle today when you look at World Championship leader Almanza 14th, Quiles 2nd in the standings 11th, Adrian Fernandez, who started to be as a regular podium contender, he's down in 12th at the back of that 4th row. Could be some fireworks in this one, Lewis.
Fernandez spent much of the last part of Q1 with stones falling out of his bike after he'd had a crash in qualifying, dislodged the fairing on the left-hand side, but still managed to get himself into Q2. So yeah, there are some midfield runners who are surely going to be expecting to power forwards. Is Casey O'Gorman going to be another of them? He lines up in 13th place. It was a really good Friday for the 658 Squadron Course team. Both of their riders automatically through to qualifying 2. His teammate Leo Ramastorfer into Q2 for the first time, although he does have a long lap penalty to serve in today's race.
Coklatos Official sponsor Besi.
Jadi juara nomor 1 itu Besi.
Bayangkan kemenangan dengan Coklatos.
Aku makan Coklatos World Roll. Produk Indonesia dengan cita rasa coklat Italia. World Roll number 1 in Indonesia. Coklatos, mamma mia le saltos.
Way back in Qatar in 2015 to win the opening Grand Prix in Moto3 from pole position. Can he be the first rider since Albert Arenas in 2022 to win the first two Moto3 Grand Prix of the season? He's got it all on, coming from the middle of that fifth row of the grid. He's in between Casey O'Gorman and this young rider, Honda Team Asia's Zen Matani.
Then bring up for his best qualifying so far in Moto3, first Q2 appearance for Zen Matani. He also came via qualifying one and clearly in very high spirits. It's been there through the visor. Looking forward to his first taste of Moto3 action in Goiânia.
I think Zen Matani was as excited as I was for three Grand Prix here when I was beginning to introduce our names before the Grand Prix. Yeah, Zen Matani looking very, very strong. Looking for his first point scoring finish in what's going to be his fifth Grand Prix start here today in Brazil. So here we go then. The grid starts to clear. On the front row for the first time, Malaysians Hakim Dani. She's got great potential for a podium here this afternoon. Middle of that front row goes Valentin Peroni. Third place now, season opener in Thailand. We're starting from pole position for the very first time with some big Moto3 heavyweights hunting him down from further down the grid. Our pole position here in Moto3 in Brazil is Spain's Joel Esteban.
24 laps of Goiânia to come in Moto3 with Joel Esteban on a maiden pole and Valentin Peroni next to him. Hakim Danish, a first front row start for him. He's ahead of Vedat Pratama, one higher than he started, of course, in Buriram. Equal career best for Marco Morelli in fifth. Brian Ariarte sixth after two crashes earlier in the weekend. Joel Kelso, he crashed in Q2 but still took seventh ahead of Yusei Yamanaka, who came to Q1. Rico Salmela completes row 3. Alvaro Carpa, another Q1 graduate, 10th ahead of Max Quiles, 11th. Career worst for him, and Andrew Fernandez 12th. O'Gorman, points leader Almanza, and Zen Matani on row 5 ahead of Guido Pini. Leo Ramastorpa, who has a long lap penalty, and Cormac Buchanan, who had a monster high side yesterday, but does start 18th. Scott Upton, 19th ahead of Bertelli and Bruce Moodley. Eddie O'Shea's been battling illness this weekend. He starts 22nd ahead of Carrero, Rios, and Cruzes, and 25 start this weekend. If you've not joined us so far on the weekend, no David Munoz as he continues to recover from that injured femur late last year.
Yeah, speed of recovery to David Munoz then. So the field cleared away for our first Sunday Grand Prix action in 22 long years. 28 degrees is the temperature. I have to say, it feels a lot hotter than that when we walked over to the commentary box position. We're just a little bit in advance of the grid here, a little bit in advance of the front row. So Joel Esteban, I wonder how the nerves are, how are the butterflies. This is pre-start number 29 for the 20-year-old Spaniard, low riding to level up MTA KTM. First pole position after the lap of Leo Ramastorpa, who's just having a little trip through the long lap there just to practice his long lap incoming. Fascinating to see how Quiles and Almanza deal with their average qualifying performances yesterday. There's one thing we know about this 3.835 kilometre, 2.388 miles Goiânia circuit is in parts, it's tight, twisty, it's a narrow racing line, it's very, very hard to make overtakes. Slipstream, surely getting a slingshot out of the final corner, turn 14 on these pocket rocket Moto3 bikes to try and line up some slipstream and make a move either on the start finish straight or on the brakes in the first corner. That is going to be key. Quiles then, 11th on the grid, second place last time out in Buriram. 6 of his 10 podiums have been second. Silverstone, Aragon, Saxon Ringborough, Mazzano and Buriram. Stay away to Katabayuma Sasaki, who has the highest number of second places in Moto3 history. That's the number 78 then of Joel Esteban. Just pumping those brakes, getting some temperature into the brakes and the front tyres. A long old run down to the first corner here, Goiânia. So this is the moment that Brazilian fans and South American fans in this part of the world have waited such a long, long time for. 1989, 37 years since we last had a Grand Prix here in Goiânia. Kevin Schwantz prevailed for Suzuki in MotoGP on that occasion. Level up then on pole position here with Joel Esteban. Front row features Valentin Peroni and the impressive Malaysian Hakim Danish. We're going to be racing very, very shortly here in Brazil. It's lights out and we're racing in Moto3 here in Goiânia. It's a brilliant start from that maiden pole position. Esteban has got the drop on Peroni, going the wrong way unfortunately on the maiden front row at the moment. It's Hakim Danish on the 13 bike. He's already been picked off by Marco Morelli. Coming the pressure from Brian Ariarte. Really, really good start as well there from Patama, who's immediately got one place into third.
Good start by Lutfi from Keyless too. He's on that tight inside line. He's made up at least 4 places. In fact, I think he's up into 6th place now. Keyless ahead of John Kelser.
Yeah, Danish has recovered after a rather sloppy start off the line, down from 3rd to 5th. Going the long way around the outside is Adrian Fernandez at turn 4. He's on the wrong side for that right-hander through turn 4. A few rising MotoGP caught out there on Friday on wet patches.
Into the lead there. And Almanza also a big mover. He's already up into 8th place on this first lap, so he's climbed 6 spots.
Patama's been beaten up there going into 5 and 6. He got picked up by Morelli, who's had a real strong start to this Brazil Grand Prix. Morelli then up from 5th to 3rd, and Patama getting picked up. It also allowed Danish back into 4th.
A couple of the rookies inside the top 10 have had tough starts as Morelli lunges at the inside of the pole sitter Esteban. Riarte back from 6th to 12th, and Salmella's also dropped places from the 3rd row back to 14th.
Right, we now go into the horsepower shootout down towards this penultimate corner, turn 13, and now it's all about your drive. Got to get some good entry speed here. Make sure you keep that. Prevent getting too much wheel spin on the side of the tyre with lead angle, and now power down this 994 metre start-finish rate. Slipstream is going to be so key in this Grand Prix. Taking the slipstream goes Morelli. He goes side by side then with Perone, and Marco Morelli will lead here in Brazil.
And Danish straight through into 2nd place. One thing to keep in mind, tyre information has just dropped from Pirelli. The top 2 in the race, Morelli and now Danish, are both on the soft rear tyre. Pirelli is on the medium.
So this is new territory. This is the third time we've seen Morelli lead the Grand Prix. Danish has recovered. He was as low as 5th on the opening Grand Prix. Now we're in the 2nd. He's almost getting dive bomb into 4th by there. That's by Perone.
Almanza to 4th now. He takes Patama into turbo. So both Almanza and Keyless rocketing up the order. Look at that tight inside lane for Carpe, who's also trying to make progress. He's into the top 10 now.
Yeah, David Almanza thought about a move there on Perone as well, that he going through this 5-6 complex. Almanza, well, nobody told him it was supposed to be hard to overtake here in Brazil. He's recovered 14th up into 4th place, 10 place. We're not even completed lap 2.
Top 2 in the championship, side by side into turn 10. That's Keyless through on David Almanza. So a championship battle potentially throughout the season. It's already kicking up in Brazil as Esteban's trying to make up ground, back up the order, having plummeted from pole position.
Further down the order, Kelso's currently in 8th place at the Carpe. Adrian Fernandez inside the top 10. Uriarte starting 6th, has not had a great start this Grand Prix. He's 11th ahead of Salmella. O'Gorman, Matani and Pini at the moment are occupying the point scoring places. And they now just try and find the slipstream. Look at Keyless, just trying to maximise that big hole in the air being punched by Perone ahead of him. He darts out the right-hand side. Perone, nothing he can do to defend, can he? Who's going to be late on the brakes? It's Keyless. Oh, 2 for 1. Keyless with great speed there down the start-finish race. Between Danish and Perone, he goes up to 2nd. We have an Aspar 1-2.
So he went from 4th over the line to 2nd, and he's soon going to take the lead here. Look at that. Putting some serious manners on his young teammate Morelli. And after 2.5 laps, Max Keyless has gone from 11th to the lead.
Aspar, nicknamed Max Keyless the Killer. Well, he's gone for the killer instinct there, and he went for the jugger on his teammate Morelli, taking no prisoners at all. Friendly fire inside the Aspar garage. Perone then immediately got himself back up into 2nd place. Danny's still looking very strong there. Oh, Keyless has gone for the car play. You've got to be careful. So dirty and dusty offline here. Keyless is able to just roll off the throttle, not lose too much momentum, but it's a gift. Perone now leads.
It was all about that turn 6 as Almanza's now making a move on Morelli. Looked like Esteban was trying to pass Danish to the 5th place. So at the moment it's chopping and changing, toing and throwing. No one really making a break in this lead. He could go, of course, the long straight here to the final couple of corners and the kilometre straight to turn 1 makes it so difficult to break the group.
Uriarte starting to work his way back forward. He's just climbed up into the top 10. He's 9th now, ahead of Adrian Fernandez. Yellow flags are out in the 3rd sector as the top group power out of turn 14. Keyless we saw last time around, got great slipstream to blast past both Perone and Danish. As Leo Ramersdorfer has gone down for 6:58 squadron course on, and just like on the last lap, Keyless with the slipstream finds himself back in the lead.
So that was either during or just after he served his long lap penalty. Look over to the left-hand side for Almanza. Where are you two going, he says. I'll quite happily take the lead.
Well, that's twice now. Keyless has had the lead and thrown it straight back about 4 or 5 seconds later. It's now Almanza. The top 2 have come from 14th Almanza, 14th on the grid to lead. Keyless came for 11th on the grid. There is Ramersdorfer walking away from his crash. A little wave to the crowd. Looks like he's okay.
This is coming through the right-hander at 12. That's the crash that Cruces had in qualifying yesterday. Monster high side. If you get offline, as Matt mentioned, so easy to have that kind of accident. And Ramersdorfer out of his career
let's hope it's going to be okay for next weekend's action over in Texas in Austin. Almanza, well, this is just eat, sleep, race repeat as far as Almanza and Keeler's are concerned. This is exactly what we saw from the pair of them a couple of weeks ago over in Thailand. Keeler's on a revenge mission here. Almanza looking to continue this sensational start to 2026. It's 6 years since Albert Arenas in 2020 won the first 2 Grand Prix. Nobody's done it since.
And he's really getting stuck into Carpe there on the way into the final corner. We saw a little bit of a feinter move from Quiles, but understandably, he doesn't want to lead onto this main straight because he would be punching the big air in the hole for everyone behind. As it is, he's riding through it and taking the lead back.
Quiles almost on the green paint on the exit pit lane there as he drops across into this downhill fast break. Long right-hander. It seems like it goes on forever, doesn't it? These first couple of right-handers, and then they'll tack hard towards a real high-speed turn 3. This is really where fortune favours the brave. Got to be careful now. Slight uphill braking zone into turn 4. It's still Almanza from Quiles. Peroni there in 3rd. Peroni still looking strong in 4th place. Ahead of Danish, Carpe, Esteban, the pole starter. Fernandez, Patama, and Salmali, your top 10.
A gap now starting to open up behind Mintani, who's in the final points position in 15th place, to Eddie O'Shea, who's leading that second group in 16th. So the first sign of a split in this leading group, but the points finishers or point scorers as it stands all still very much together as we're on lap 5 of 24.
Without Mats then, back in familiar position in 2026 already. He's winning the absolute classic to kick off Moto3 in 2026. There's never been a closer finish in Moto3 history between the top 2 in this Grand Prix right now. Once again, it's a story, a tale of 22 versus 28. Almanza and Quiles. Maybe slightly tougher task with a few more riders in contention behind. Those two were miles clear of Peroni in 3rd place over in Thailand. Almanza got a bit of a breather here. He had a brilliant run through 13 and 14 there. Almanza, he's broken the slipstream here. There's no way Quiles is surely going to get close enough.
It was interesting to see the different lines through the chicane of 10 and 11 too. Almanza taking a bit more of a wider line, whereas Quiles looked to try and straighten short line that turn 11 right-hander, and it gave Almanza a much better look at 12, and he just pulled a few metres away from Max Quiles. But of course, with the long straight here down to turn 1, Almanza, no matter how hard he tries, he's going to get real back in again.
19 laps of that Thai Grand Prix. Almanza led 17 of them, and crucially, the last one of them is Esteban, starting to work his way back forward. He was as low as, 7th or 8th early on from pole position. Now back into 4th. Lovely move that on Morelli, who's still in P5.
Morelli's trying to take that one back again as he takes that inside line, perhaps attacking and defending all into one. He's got Danish right behind him on the first of the MSI bikes. Then it's Carpe next up in 7th, and Adrian Fernandez, another rider, starting to make progress up the order on the Leopard Honda. He started in 12th, he's now up to 8th.
Good lap this so far for Guido Pini. He's ticked off Sam Mella and O'Gorman. Pini on the Leopard Honda has now got himself up inside the top 10. He's just behind Vader Patama, who's lost 5 places early on from 4th on the grid down to 9th spot. Pini still there in 10th place. It's a good battle lap down between him, Sam Mella and O'Gorman.
Quiles responding on this lap and closing in once again on Almanza. That's the battle for 3rd place then, Peroni and Esteban. So at the moment, the top 3 in this race, the same top 3 we had at the checkered flag in Ferrari. Esteban looks like he's about to change that.
Only 2 riders on the 26s on that last lap. One of them being Quiles. Almanza just about fends off Quiles, coming from a long way back there. Is Esteban with the slipstream, just nicks that inside line on Peroni. So Esteban up into 3rd place. Quiles and Esteban in 4th. The only 2 in the field on that last lap, still able to keep themselves in the 26s.
Esteban has never stood on a Grand Prix podium. He's had a best of 4th on 3 separate occasions, and he's high-sided spectacularly out of that 3rd place.
Mid-corner, going through turn 4. I think you saw a gap there. Quiles might have been a little bit offline, and just on the power, Esteban launches himself to the moon and back. That was a huge crash for the pole starter. Just as we were starting to think maybe he was going to be a big contender for the podium. He has the mother of all high sides. That was a big one for Joel Esteban. Really cost Peroni that as well, because I think Peroni almost had to sort of headbutt the crash bike. That really did cost Peroni some crucial time.
He's punched a massive hole in this leading group, which now Marco Morelli is filling as he moves to 3rd place. Here's another look then as he's having a think about trying to pass Quiles. He's on that tighter inside line just as he's trying to open the gas. It spins him into the air.
Yeah, too tight. Too much lean angle for that amount of throttle. Looking back from David Almanza, Quiles was wide. You could sense Esteban was thinking, okay, well, this is now an opportunity to make that move, and just that wheel spin, and it just fired him a proper violent ice like that one. Good to see Esteban walking away, because that was a big get-off. Almanza then back in the 26s. Personal best lap of the Grand Prix for the World Championship leader on 26.847. Morelli now up into that third place. He's just done his best lap of the Grand Prix, but on 127.2. So his best lap still 4 tenths slower than Almanza. Now then, has this given the opportunity for Almanza and Keyless to have yet another personal duel at the front? Because the Esteban drama has seen the field split now by a second back to Morelli.
Yeah, they've lost that crucial slipstream that would have towed them along that main straight. Peroni then trying to get himself back through, having passed Danish. Danish really getting backed up on this lap. Fernandez thrown him too. So Danish has lost a couple of places on this lap. So the onus really is on Morelli now, the second of the Aspar bikes, in third place to try and tow that group back up to the leaders.
Yeah, Patama's just finding his rhythm. One of those big attacks here by Adrian Fernandez, further back on the 31 bike. Patama's last lap was 127.168. That's his best lap of the Grand Prix so far.
That's Pini passing Patama. He's the second of the Leopard Hondas in this group. Fernandez just up the road in fifth place. Pini has had 2 crashes of his own this weekend. So here's what's going on further back. This was Fernandez on Danish. And at the same time, Carpe was getting involved with Patama. And that opened the door for Salmela to get involved.
There's been a few traffic jams to get into this Goiânia circuit. That was a traffic jam, wasn't it, here in this Moto3 battle? At the front, once again, history is repeating itself from Buram here in Brazil. It's Almanza versus Keyless. Can Almanza win his second successive Grand Prix? Keyless out for revenge big time here, isn't he? He was smarting when he lost that Grand Prix to Almanza 3 weeks ago. He thought he had it at that last corner. Almanza going super defensive on that long run down to the final turn. Further down the field, Danish coming under more pressure going through turn 4, looking to try and find a way back to Adrian Fernandez. Fernandez is starting to get a little bit busy as well in this front group, isn't he? Up now in the P5.
No real signs at the moment of Morelli closing that gap, as well as the top 2 don't battle each other and perhaps save it for later on. They're going to pull clear of that group. That was Salmela versus Danish, the battle of the rookies for 6th place, and it looks like Danish has taken that one back again from the 5th.
Yeah, this big sort of pack Mally on this Mally at the back of the top 10 is playing in the hands of likes of Morelli and Bode. You know, Pini's starting to get his elbows out. Isn't he, on the 94 Leopard Honda? Pini's now got himself up into 8th place. Nice move that he just made on Carpe. So Pini's come from 16th on the grid.
Leaders on the last lap on a 27. 4:20. Moments in 2 corners in the middle of that 10, 11, 12 complex. He gave Fernandez the run at it.
David Almanza nomor 1 ya bosku ya, dan Willis nomor 2, Peroni nomor 3, Morelli nomor 4, Alex Fernandez nomor 4, 5an, dan nomor 6 Akar, 7 Rico Salmela, 8 Hakim Danish, nomor 9 ada yang jatuh lagi. David Almanza jatuh. David Almanza crash. Pada nomor 8 jadi naik, yang tadinya di nomor 10 gara-gara yang di depannya crash. Ini aku kasih lihat. Mau dikasih lihat gak nih? Saya kasih lihat ya. Bisa cuman bayangannya aja.
It's a long turn 4. He's practically on the exit.